People were packing up and leaving the beach, wiped out from hours of soaking in the sun and playing in the waves, as I started out on the flat north-south road. He followed me on his bike to keep me company. I was running at a good clip, about 5 miles into an 8-mile run, when I realized I hadn't heard the sound of my dad's wheel for at least 10 minutes. I knew one of his tires was losing air, and he'd been working hard to keep up with me. I could have stopped and waited for him to fix it. Instead, I decided to press harder, to make him hurt, to make him worry about me being out there by myself. I leaned into the pace a little bit more, visualizing how I'd close out a race at the high school state meet. My dad was the chasing pack, and I was laying on the gas, putting them away for good. I was so deep in my race dream by the time I hit the parking lot where we'd begun that I almost missed it in the pitch black. Once I slowed down and walked a few strides to catch my breath, I felt a deep sense of accomplishment about putting in the miles. I was glad I hadn't talked myself out of it. My dad had said that would happen the whole time he was pushing me to get out the door, but I would never tell him he was right. I sat on the curb next to his truck in satisfied silence. 15 minutes later, I began to hear the telltale squeak and the faint thud of a flat tire. By then, I already had a long, complicated competitive history with my dad, Dennis. Growing up, my older sister, Natalie, and I were required to play sports year-round so that we'd be too busy to get in trouble, insulated from a world our parents viewed as full of bad influences and dangerous pitfalls. We didn't have the luxury of taking a season off for fear that we'd become lazy, and we were expected to be willing to try it all. Dad scoured the newspaper for new activities, then woke us up first thing on Saturday morning to tell us what he'd signed us up for. Golf lessons one week, co-ed t-ball the next. From the time I joined my first organized soccer team at age 6, he held his own clinics for us after he got off his job as a construction worker. Post-practice practices, as we thought of them. We did soccer drills, kicking a size 3 ball against the low retaining wall that bordered our front yard in San Diego while he barked instructions. Or juggling the ball with our feet to master the ideal first touch. He coached our softball team, and when Natalie decided she wanted to pitch, I was happy to be her personal catcher. These were not casual sessions. They were about self-improvement, not enjoyment. He'd snap if we weren't being serious enough in his eyes, like the time he ripped into Natalie for smiling too much as she tried to throw strikes. We were close in every way, born just 18 months apart, and she was perfect in my mind. Beautiful, adventurous, better at sports than I was. I couldn't understand why he would criticize her for something that had nothing to do with how well she was pitching. I hunkered down, hiding behind my catcher's mask, thinking, what level of fun are we allowed to have? He wouldn't let it go and kept antagonizing her all evening. I had learned not to argue. We kept working hard to appease him and meet his demands to be aggressive on the field to earn more playing time, to avoid embarrassing him. Our mom, Nancy, had a more passive, level personality, but was just as committed to our sporting life. She built her entire schedule around us, punching in for her shift as an AT&T operator at 5 in the morning so that she would be off in time to pick us up from school, shuttle us to practices and games, and watch and critique every moment of play. In the ultimate parental sacrifice, she often agreed to stand in as goalie, without the benefit of gloves. She defended the goal as if her life were on the line, and left the field exhausted and bruised from shots that had ricocheted off every part of her body. If we weren't playing sports, we were watching them. My parents were diehard San Diego Padres fans, and when the ball games stretched past bedtime, Natalie and I would wake up to find sticky notes with the final score posted on our bed frames. I inherited that baseball DNA and idolized outfielder Tony Gwynn, the perennial all-star who starred at San Diego State University and never left the city. He was as much a part of my hometown as the beaches and the U.S. Navy base. As I got older, youth soccer became as much of a frustration as a passion. I was an instinctive forward, quick to the ball, but too slight to put enough punch into my shots and often overpowered one-on-one. If I didn't hold my own when things got physical, I'd be on the ground and soon on my way to warm the bench. You have to play bigger than you are, coaches told me. Believe you're bigger. It was my first taste of being labeled an underdog, a tiny finesse player.